I'm just having a little bit of a spruce up with the bike. Now, I've had this bike for probably, well, I know definitely more than 15 years. Probably had this bike 16 or 17 years, and I bought it second hand then. But I've ran it into the ground. The crank bearings, they've had it. I'll show you them in a minute. Every time you go for a ride, the pedals, these bolts work their way out, and your pedals end up flopping around, so you've got to carry an Allen key with you, keep tightening them up. So I'm going to try and mend that. I might end up with a new crank, I don't know yet, we'll see what the budget allows. I need a new derailleur, because that's all flopping around. I'll show you what I've done. Let me show you what I've done. Been having a bit of a play around. The bearings in there, they're a bit dicky. They're just yeah, they're not the best. So that's gonna have new bearings in it. The derailleur's a bit iffy, but I might see if I can get away with using it. If not, and the chain's fine. The forks, they've had it. They've never worked well. I think they worked okay the first year I bought it, and they went downhill quite rapidly after that. None of the adjustment things work. They're pretty much as floppy as you can imagine. So we're trying to refresh those a little bit. And everything else is fine. Everything else works fine. The brakes has got new pads in it, but I might see about maybe changing them. I'm not really sure yet. The whole bike basically is going to get a whole refresh. The wheels over there, there's nothing wrong with them. They're perfectly fine, but I do want to get new tyres, because these tyres are a bit dicky, really. Yeah, I think they're Kendra, I remember. The front one's got a puncture anyway. But yeah, Kinetics. I've ran them several times with flat tyres. I've just literally just ridden home with punctures just to get home. I'm surprised the rims haven't got any dings out of them, but they haven't. They're still in reasonably good condition, but the tyres, not the best. They've got plenty of tread left, plenty of grip, but they're not the best at all. That one has got a puncture. But it does need new discs, really. The discs, they're okay. But, don't know. Anyway, we'll have a look at refreshing the whole thing. It's definitely going to have new tyres. And I'm not going to paint the frame. I'm not going to do anything with the frame, because I like all these little dings and scuffs and dents. I think it's part of the character of the bike. Every one of them tells a bit of a story. They're all quite important. I value them all. So all of the damage is going to stay as it is. You know, there's 15 or more years of me riding this bike every summer all over this. So and to me it's important to keep it as it is, apart from obviously the bearings. I've ended up taking the whole forks off and giving them a bit of a clean, because why not, I might as well. And I don't really know, the trouble is I'm going to have is, because these are so old now, getting parts for these is difficult. I've had everyone I know trying to get seal kits and things and to refresh these forks. So I'm just going to get new ones, simple as that. I'm going to have new forks, it's going to have new brakes all around, new crank. I might have to get new wheels depending on what forks I get. But the other problem I've got is, because this bike's so old, the spacing is a bloody awkward one to get. So the spacing between here is 135mm. All the wheels that I've managed to find are 150 by 12mm. Now this isn't 12, this is 10. So yeah, I'm gonna do a little bit of digging and see what I can find, but I haven't really done too much digging yet. I remember last time when I was trying to find brake pads for it, it was bloody difficult. No one did the brake pads anymore, because it's an old bike. It's 20 years old. It's probably, I don't know what year it is, but it's got to be 20, because I've had it for about 15, 16, maybe even 17, because I was going back and looking at pictures that I took of it the other day, and I'm pretty sure I've had it about 17 years. And it was second hand then. I got it from Scotland. So trying to find the brake pads for it was bloody difficult. The one and only place that would get them was Corringham Cycles, a bloody good shop, and the bloke in there is bloody good. He'll go out of his way It'll get you whatever you need. It will get it. So I've been on the phone to him to try and find some bits and bobs for this now. Some forks, some wheels, some stuff like that. And he's having a look, talking to all these people that he knows to get me what I need. So, you know, that'll be a future video. Bit of a bike project. I love a bike build. I've got some photos, I think, somewhere. I did a lot of bike builds when I was younger. I used to rebuild bikes all the time. And in fact, I had a felt revolt. It was, I was in school, so it must have been a 2000, I'm going to say it was 2005. Because my mate had a red one, a felt revolt BMX, and I wanted it. It was so cool to ride. I loved riding it. I was borrowing his bike all the time. And I wanted one. I got one for Christmas, but it was a silver one. It was a year newer, and I'm sure it was 2005. That year was. And it was a fantastic BMX. I had it for years, rode it every day. And then one day it got nicked. The gypsies nicked it. And we found it outside a gypsy camp. But it was just the frame. They'd had the wheels, they'd had everything good off of it. They'd left the crank, which was bent anyway, and the handlebars and the frame. They took the wheels, they took the seat. The only good things on it, really. So I knew that it was my bike because it was. I stuck stickers all over it. I knew it was my frame, so I picked it up, and my dad picked it up, and we took it home, and I stripped it all down. I repainted it white because it was silver. New seat on it, new wheels, new tyres, obviously. I think I kept the original handlebars because I'd cut them down to how I wanted them. And it was a great BMX. But obviously I've sold that since then because that was a good, more than 20 years ago. No, probably about 20 years ago. How old would I have been? I'd have been about 15. Yeah, about 19 years ago. Something like that. I don't know. I'm no good at bloody maths. And I've done so many other bikes since then, other mountain bikes and things. I just love blooming bikes. So this is going to be a good build, but it's a budget build. But I'll do a whole video on it, so you better see the whole lot from start to finish. Once I get all the bits I need. I'm not going to buy a new frame. I'm not going to make it too expensive because then I could just buy a new bike. Right, are you lot? We need to talk about bicycles. So I've been doing a little bits to this bike, trying to get it, well not trying, but I am getting it slowly back to a former glory. We're going to be changing, I have changed, forks, crank, everything like that. So far, this is where I am. I've been filming little bits, you'd have been seeing it. I've got these nice, they're forks, they're probably Chinese, they're Zoom forks. I didn't particularly want to be spending a lot of money on some Foxys or any of the other brands you can think of. Especially since Foxys are not really supposed to be that good anymore. Those are the old wheels. And I've got a box with some new wheels in, hopefully, so we'll have a look at those in a minute. I'm going to fit the forks. And we should hopefully be well away. Doing a little bit of test fitting here now, trying to decide whether I want to cut the steerer tube down or not. And I can't decide if I want to cut it down or not. I think what I need to do is get the wheels on, but I can't get the wheels on until I've got tyres. I haven't got any tyres yet. I haven't even looked at the rims. I could put the old rims, well I can't because my new forks here, they've got a 20mm axle. Them ones didn't, that one didn't have a 20mm axle. So I can't put the front wheel on. I can put the back wheel on, but I can't put the front wheel on. But I can't decide if I want to cut it down. If I'm not going to cut it down, I need to go down the shop and I need to buy some more spacers. That's a pretty long gap there. But I can't decide if I want to cut it down or not, because obviously once I cut it down, I'm never going to get it back again. So it would be a bit of a mistake if I was to cut it down and then decide to myself, oh, actually I don't want it. See, the thing is, where it was before, it was a little bit low. But it was what it was. Now I've got the chance to make it higher. I think I might make it. I think I might keep it like that, to be honest. So, but anyway, doing a little bit of test fitting. That's what we've got so far, and I'm quite liking that. Very, very nice. I need to get that other shifter off. The little grub screws what hold these on completely seized solid. I got this one off with a bit of PB blaster and quite a bit of heat. 8th of May 2007 is the date stamped on this. So if these are the original shifters, that's how old my bike is, from 2007. And I bought it in 2011. 2011, if I remember correctly. So it was a few years old when I bought it. Anyway, let's go and unbox the rims, shall we? I think we will. Yes, we will. Yep. Because I can't do anything more with this yet. I can't put the star in. I can't, because I haven't decided what I'm going to do with this. Because there's no point in putting the blooming star in if I'm going to cut this down. Well, I don't know. I honestly don't know. You lot are more than welcome to leave a comment, but it's not going to make a blind bit of difference, because by the time you see this video, it'll be done. So this is what I've got by the way of wheels. They're nothing special. I was looking at Hope, I was looking at Halo, I was looking at all them, and I was thinking to myself, well, these are a lot of dollar, you know. And not to mention that a 20mm axle, it turns out that it's not very popular anymore. We're all going to 15 and even 10, I think. Everything I could find was 15mm, and I bought these forks. They've got a 20mm axle, so I'm stuck with that now. So any second-hand set of wheels that I managed to find with a 20mm axle and 110 spacing, they had like Hope Pro 4s and all that kind of stuff, Pro 2s, and one set had. They're a lot of dollar, and I don't want to spend a lot of dollar on this because I'm not going to be using it to its full potential. I'm not going to be doing 20, 30, 40 foot jumps. I'm just going to be riding it around doing the odd little jump in the woods here and there now and again. So I managed to have a look around on the internet, and I found these brand spanking new on the internet. Most definitely probably from China, which is not the way I normally roll. But for this, it's the only option I had. I spoke to everybody I know that does biking, mountain biking, downhill, jumps, all that kind of stuff. None of them had anything they wanted to sell. So I was kind of stuck. Anyway, so we've got ourselves a brand spanking new set of rims. But this one I'm not particularly happy with, because if we listen... It's got something rattling around inside it. The other one hasn't, the back wheel hasn't, but this one's got something rattling around inside it, so I don't know what I'm going to do about that. Right, so I've decided I'm not going to do anything with that steerer now until I get me tyres, I get my wheels on, I can get the bike sitting there I want it, I can sit on the seat, I can see where I want to have the handlebars. That's what I'm going to do. So that's it. Can't do nothing more now until the tyres come in. Then the tyres will be coming into the bike shop. And the bike shop in question, by the way, is Corringham Cycles. The best bike shop that there is around, as far as I'm concerned. Perfect service, perfect everything. Someone's at the bloody front door. But everything is perfect as far as I'm concerned at Corringham Cycles. They get anything you want. They do any custom build, any bike you want, as far as I'm aware anyway, within reason. So... yeah, the best shop. So when the tyres come in, we'll join back up this and get it all put together, hopefully, because that's all I need, tyres. I had a little bit of a tidy up, because what I managed to do was make a great big huge mess. So I've had a bit of a tidy up. I've got my pedal arm things there, everything I'm going to need to put it back together. So when I eventually get my tyres, I can mount the wheels. And yeah, I've got some spacers somewhere from the last time I put some forks on a different bike, so I'm going to have a hunt around before I go and buy any more spacers. I'm going to have a little hunt around to see if I can find the ones I've got. If I've got enough of them, I'll have it like that, and I'm going to ride it like that. And if I need to cut it down, it won't be too difficult, because I should be able to just push the star down a bit further, cut it, and then set it to where I actually need it. It's a little bit weird, but I've done it like that before. And I'll do it again. I'm just a bit dubious because I don't want to... Yeah, it is what it is. So, yeah, I'll see you probably in a few days for you, but in a few minutes, or not even minutes, bloody hell, in a few milliseconds. In a few days for me, but in a few milliseconds for you. Bloody blimey. It's only Wednesday, and I already can't talk. Whew, blimey, man. A couple of days later now, I'm still waiting for my tyres to arrive to put the wheels on. I wanted to put the wheels on before I set the forks properly, but I'm impatient, so let's do it anyway. So I knew I had some somewhere. I didn't want to go and buy some more if I already had them. I've got some spacers, because I'm going to have to space this out. These are the spacers that were already on it, and these are ones that I had left over from another build. So I've decided I'm going to put them on, but I don't think it's going to be enough, so we might end up cutting this steerer anyway. I'm not going to mess around buying even more spacers. Cutting it down a little bit, it's not going to make much of a difference, plus it won't look as ridiculous as it would do with it being that long. But before we do any of that, we need to, well, after we've cut it down obviously, we need to put the star and all that kind of stuff in. So let's put the spacers on, see what it looks like, cut it down if necessary, and happy days. Well, that ain't particularly good. I think I'm just going to use a grinder. Grumpy Bollocks next door might whinge about it, but it's only a little cut. Let's go and get the grinder. Well, couldn't find the pipe cutter or my cutting discs for the grinder. I've got loads of them, but what I did with them, I haven't got a clue. I had to tidy up, and you know what happens when you have a tidy up? You lose everything. Anyway, I managed to find another hacksaw and a new blade. So that soon sorted that out. Let's clean all this up and put the star in, set the forks, and then we're one step closer. Okie dokie then, so it's not a very straight cut, but that's alright, we'll just completely ignore that fact. Well, that looks alright, I like that. Now all we've got to do is get that in there. Now you can use a bit of bar or an extension bar to get that in. What that does, pulls everything tight. You can get an extension bar or some sort of bar on there and hit it with a hammer and it will go in. But you've got to make sure that it's straight, otherwise it will mess it all up. So, if you're like me, you've got a random drawer of specialty tools that you buy, use a few times and never use again. Piston compressors, probably use them about 6 or 7 times. I've got spanners and all kinds of... Oh no, look, there's a star. I bought a new one, I didn't know I had any. Oh well, keep that as a spare. I've got spanners for YEESSS fans, but here is a little tool, and there should be another one of them little threaded things somewhere. I'll have to look for it. A little tool for putting a star in. I'll show you how it works. So you get your star. I don't know what size I'm going to need that. You get your star and you put in whichever one of these is the right size. I think they're both the same actually. You put that in there like that, and then you get this here, little thing here, and you put that in there. I wonder if the other one might be better. I think they're both the same size, but that was a bit loose. Anyway, so you put that in there like that. Make sure that it's got loads of thread on it. Screw that on there. Won't bloody screw. There it goes. Other way around. Put that on there like that. Right. And then it goes over there. So you means you've got it completely straight and central, and you just give it a whack on the top there, and that's your little star thing set at the right depth. Very handy tool. Before I bought this, I used to just bang them in with an extension bar, an old extension bar I didn't really care about. I whacked them in with that. Trouble is, you got to put it in a bit, and then a bit more, and then a bit more until you get it the right depth. But this thing, pretty handy. I think I've used it about 3 times. It's one of them tools you buy to use, and you use it a few times, and it goes in the drawer. But now, it's coming in handy again. Alright, well, there it is, mocked up. I put the back wheel on it for now. Because that's got a wheel tie for it. The front one I haven't got a tie. Well, I've got a tie for it, but anyway. So that's it mocked up. Well, it's not mocked up. The bars are tight. Everything's tight. That's what it's going to look like, and I'm quite happy with that space there. I have to see what it's going to feel like when I'm riding. Don't think it'll be too low. I think it'll be alright. Bearing in mind the front will be high with the wheels on it. Got to put the crank back in. I'm going to use the old bottom bracket and bearings as it is. Taken it out, cleaned it up, and we'll just see how it goes, because the problem I was having with this one was these bolts that go in there, those bolts that go in here, which hold the arms on, would work their way loose. Doesn't matter how much thread lock or whatever, they would always work their way loose. And normally that means that these are worn. But looking at this, doesn't look worn to me. And in there doesn't look too worn either. So I'm just going to put it all back together, run it as it is, and see what happens. If I have to get a new crank set, I will do. But for now, that's that. The little grub screw that holds this shifter on still stuck in. I melted it a little bit the other day with a bit of heat. And then I decided to stop. I've got to get it off because I've got new brake levers. And obviously, if I cut the old ones off, then I've got to get the new ones on. So I've got to get this shifter off anyway. So yeah, we're getting there. Well, we'll be back when I eventually get the tyres. That's all I need now is tyres, and then we're rideable. Tyres, I've got the brakes sorted out, everything's sorted apart from tyres. So when they arrive at Corringham Cycles, the best bike shop around, I'm going to put the website in the description to this video, because man, they've helped me out a lot. Over the years, little bits here and there, but with this build, everything I go there for, every time I say I need this, I need that, I need whatever, that's it. There's no there's a few tyres he couldn't get, but you know, who needs that? I mean, I've got better ones than I wanted anyway, so it's a good thing. And they only stock and sell good stuff. That's how you know you're getting a good thing. Right, see you in a minute. Alright, so I couldn't wait yesterday, so I put the rim on, put a towel on the floor so I didn't damage it, and put it all up, set it all up. That's how we're having it. So now all we've got to do is put all these bits and bobs on. I've got a couple of tubes. There we go, a couple of tubes. And we've got tyres now. Swarby, and we've got Magic Marys. Look. I like Magic Marys. I didn't realise they were made by Swarby. When I went into, what did I got? Corringham Cycles, the best bike shop around. When I went in there and I said I want some tyres, blah, blah, blah. If I'd have known that they were a brand that he sells, I would have just said I want some Magic Marys. But I didn't realise that they were by Swarby. And when I did realise, I was like, oh my giddy aunt, I'll just have a set of them. Now the thing was, I wanted a different compound, I wanted different specs, but it seems they must have some sort of tyre shortage at the moment, because he ordered them directly from Swarby, and they only had, literally only had that tyre in stock. And that's a soft compound, but it'll do me for now. So I've got them, 2 of them, and a set of brakes to fit. Do you remember, I remember back in the day when I used to go in the bike shop to buy a tyre, they'd be on the wall on some big long hooks as actual tyres, round tyres, and you just pick them off, you know. Nowadays, they come in a bloody box, look. They come in a blooming box these days, all folded up. Oh, well, it's obviously easier to ship, I suppose, or whatever, I don't know. You'd think it would be worse because now you're using some cardboard, whereas before they were just a tyre on their own. Now they're in cardboard and elastic bands. Anyway, yep, let's get these put on. What a fantastic looking tyre. I wanted, I forget what these are now. What are these? 26, these are 235s. I wanted 3 inch is what I wanted. And then I was like, all right, I'll go for 2.6. And they didn't have any of that. They only had 235. But that's going to be, you know, more than wide enough. My frame can take a bit wider. I did a bit of measuring, I reckon. I think it'll be all right. But anyway, looks very nice. I like a nice tyre. I've got a thing about tyres for some reason. Love them. This one's got a bit of, I don't know, a bit of aluminium or something from when it was machined. Rattling around in there, don't know if you can hear it or not. Let's see if we can get it to go out through the old valve hole there. Now the question is, where is it? Oh, there it is. It's there. It's right there. Oh. Don't know if I'm going to be able to get that through the blooming valve hole. That's obviously when they punched the valve hole. That's gone there. Right. Okay. Let me go and get a screwdriver. And I'll see if I can punch it through. Must have been when they punched the valve hole. If they punched it or drilled it. I don't know what they done for the valve hole. But it's obviously when they done that. And now it's... Let's see. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it or not. But it's there. It's right there. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that to go through the hole. That's the only trouble. It's literally the size of the hole. Oh, we might have it. There it is. Can you see it? Right. Let me go and get a pair of pliers. No! Oh. There it is. Yes! Ha ha ha! Got it! That would have proper bugged me, that would have been. Yeah, that's when they punched that hole for the valve, definitely. They punched it, not drilled it. Anyway, oh, let's go and get another tyre. Got a little bit carried away there, and I didn't film putting all the discs on and putting all the wheels on, but the wheels are both on. Next I'm going to put the brakes on, but it looks bloody brilliant. Look at that. That is absolutely extreme. I've got to set the bars up properly. Maybe in the future I'll get some different bars, some better bars, but I'm loving it, loving it. Right, I've still got to get the little grub screw out for this shifter, the little grub screw that holds it in. It still sees. This one was alright. This is the important one. This is the one, I don't really use it anyway, but I need to get it off to put my new brakes on. So, actually, if the new brakes have got the type of little hinge, I'll just cut the old one off. If I've got to slide it on, I've got to get this one off. But I'm saving that job for later on. This one, I can still put the calipers on and all the other stuff. Right, there we go then. That's most of that together. I've got the caliper on the front, caliper on the back, the handles, its levers mounted on for the front. It's going to be a bit tight. It is going to be a bit tight because the forks are a bit, well, they're not a bit long there. They're long, but I might be able to pull the pipe through a little bit more. Anyway, hydraulic brakes. That's obviously, I can probably put that a little bit further that way. Food time. Anyway, can't be bothered to get that off today. I'll do that probably tomorrow or whenever. I did want this to be the last, the definitive. It's done, it's built, it's finished. But anyway, there'll be more. The next video, we'll finish off what I've left. Shifter for the left hand side. Put the brakes on. Put grips on. Somehow I've managed to mount the front tyre around the wrong way. I've got to turn that round. And I missed that spacer and the crank bearing, so I've got to put that on. That's the trouble, you see. I've been a bit scatty. The old tools and everything laying around. I don't normally like to leave tools laying around. I like to leave things a bit tidy, but well, I've been working on this sort of 10 minutes of an evening over about 2 weeks. Things have just been scattered everywhere, and I've found bolts that I thought were missing, little spacers that I thought were missing. Anyway, I found them all amongst some rags and stuff, so little metal and plastic bracket spacer goes on the crank. Got to put the tyre around the right way, and then we're all done. So the next video will be finishing that off and going for a bit of a ride. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Love life. And I can't wait to ride the beast. It's going to be a beast. Not that I'll ever ride it to its full potential, mind you, but we can still have some fun, can't we? See you later.